What's going on, everyone? This is Furious George, the Philadelphia Grand Slam champion, representing the Pigeon Poetry Slam. We have both our hosts here today in Oakland, California. We have Jacob Winterstein, the host of the Philly Pigeon, and then we have Miss Wise. As we know, she has moved to Los Angeles, and she is representing the Poetry Lounge in California. We are excited to see what we're going to be bringing up in our Street Slam. So let's see what we're going to do.
Two of my siblings' last name is Satterfield. The youngest, his last name Wilkerson. My older brother and I share the last name Wise. Collectively, we are brown soil harvesting names from spirits that enslaved us. In school, when our teachers called off the rosters, the combination of first and last sound like djembe, maracas, salsa, halusi, silk, and cymbals. But when you got to a name like mine, it sounded like half of the music was missing. I thought about exchanging Wise with something closer to my heritage, but I keep thinking to myself, I'm a poet. It sounds cool. And I grew up in a city where African is amongst the top 5 insults from school bullies, so the thought of reclaiming your stature is comical or frightening. Even if you are speaking in our tongue, speaking Africa to a kid where I'm from is not like speaking in our tongues. Our tongues were possessed by ghosts which have been crowned holy. They are saluted inside of a Baptist church. The pastor says, come as you are, and most folk who know who they are stay at home. The stripping away of our names was a clever attempt to strip away our deities. That's why I am in favor of being called a god. It is the closest name that has ever felt like home. Forgive me if you find this blasphemous, but one of the reasons why I am memorizing the 99 names of Allah is so I could communicate with myself in 99 additional ways. A resurgence through my mouth, a pilgrimage backwards to when we were sun-stretching cacti, before we were told that our sharp spines were a threat. What happens to a cactus that is stripped from his name and made to believe that he is simply a weed? He will behave as a weed does. He will forget about the fluidity in his stomach, the water beneath his skin. He will respond when they call him empty, boy, Florida, news, table talk, Mr. Obama, the staff, help, loud. He will not apologize for being loud. It is part of his defiance, her dance, his goon, her savage, the definition of savage, not domesticated, cultivated, wild. We do not belong here. Yet here is where we are. And there are so many syllables missing. If you find them, attach them back to our second halves. Don't allow this country to take us whole. If it stumbles upon your prestige, tell it to begin again. We are a purposeful tangle of tongue and cheek. Do not respond when it acknowledges half the lesson. Respond when it fully acknowledges that we are here.
It's not the man pinning his lady nose to nose with the hood ornaments or the promise fist cocked behind his head that makes the story worth telling. It's the 4 of us who stepped in, out of the lines we follow home. A man from the islands ran, his leather shoes flashed like his gold chain. Another jumped down from a truck with a Puerto Rican flag clinging to the antenna. A black man whose twang could have been North Carolina or North Philly called out and changed direction, and me, the youngest. Us 4 men converge from different corners, arriving like choreography. Would have been a sight to see us share a table at Elena's Soul. Now, at this unwholesome hour, willing to step through the hesitation of what may be concealed in the waistband of the man holding a wrecking ball above this woman. The street lights holding us accountable. 8 tense palms laid upon their estranged brother. Yo, just go home, man. I'd like to think the trees whispered down, we got you. 49th and Osage has got you. That the autumn air cooled some fellas down that night, said, yo, chill, don't talk to her like that. That the cables above our heads lifted up this scene and flashed it across the city, and for a just moment, people were acting right. At 6 in Allegheny, a car slowed next to a woman walking alone home, and the driver yelled out, yo, Tina, it's me. From around the way, you want to ride? And they laughed the whole way, and he dropped her at her door, and waited for her to get in safe before he went home to his family. In Old City, at the let out, a man's drunk words began to stumble, but before they could fall, his friend caught them and offered up his just-hailed cab. Back on Osage, where bombs once dropped, the four of us didn't beat the suddenly not-so-tough man, didn't even threaten him, just stared him away. This isn't some, we're heroes. The cab fare we all offered up, the ride home accepted. There were no good game handshakes before we scattered like peanut shells on a windy day. No acknowledged nods, just bowed heads, shaking. This shouldn't be a story worth telling.
All right, that was an awesome bout. Let us know who you think won. Leave a comment and come see our live shows at thephilypigeon.com.
Peace, y'all. Hope to see you in our audience.